obviously got to bring it up. As I was perusing, and just kind of doing my NBA thug thizzle, if you will, come across Gordon Hayward appearing on the podcast podcast. So Paul George and Gordon Hayward, label mates, if you will, from the draft class. I think they were saying the last two guys in that draft class still, actually doing it at an acceptable level. Hayward hurt a little bit here now, but an interesting point about midway through, Gordon reflects on his time in Boston. And something that you even already kind of alluded to, something that I was like, you know what? I saw Jayson Tatum say, I think on JJ Redick's podcast at one point too, it's like Terry Rozier was a guy like, damn, we should let him cook a little bit more. But Hayward specifically said that they were clashing. They were butting heads in a way that while they would have the kumbaya moments, so to speak, like, hey, you gotta accept this role and I gotta accept this role. Everyone was like, yeah, but not me. That like it was out one ear, in one ear, and out the other, kind of in that moment. You said all the right things, but it wasn't really happening. There was multiple team meetings. I'm sure you're around those teams and kind of understood that. And Hayward indicated, sure, that initial injury, that first night against Cleveland, that kind of was rough for him to come back. We can talk about, did Brad show him favoritism, trying to implement him back into the roster, all that stuff, whatever. But either way, the mix of Kyrie, Tatum, and Brown trying to get their own legging in the league going off with Gordon trying to come back, it didn't work out. And I wouldn't say he lamented the time, but he mentions the fact that, especially with Terry there as well too, that there was just too many chefs in that kitchen. Your thoughts reflecting back on that time, those rosters, that team, and why they weren't able to achieve the ultimate success?
Yeah, Warren, that was a crazy year. I mean, they had all the talent in the world and didn't know what to do with it. And I just think that people will want to put it on Kyrie, and it's not all Kyrie's fault, although he deserves some blame. I think it was collective management. I think if you look at the roster, you had, Jayson and Jaylen, who, and I think the worst thing that probably could have happened, Warren, was the 18 season, where Jayson and Jaylen basically barely with facial hair, Jaylen with a flat top, Jayson with no beard and a low fade. I mean, if you look at him, you look at Jayson when he was, in his rookie year, you kind of laugh at how much he's looks different. They led the Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals. And probably, if not for that 7 for 36 night, Game 7, should have won. I mean, they blew a 3-2 lead. They were one game from the finals with no Kyrie and kind of a half Gordon, right? Because Gordon was coming back from the broken leg. So, was that 17? Or was it Gordon hurt? Gordon, I think Gordon was out too.
The first year.
Yeah, 17. Okay, yeah, 17. So Gordon was out. That was the year he had the broken leg. Okay. So, because I get mixed up on when Gordon signed 16 or 17. I know Al signed in 16, Gordon signed in 17. So, you had Jayson and Jaylen feeling like they were leaders. They were potential leaders in this team. You had Kyrie coming back. And remember, Warren, Kyrie made that promise to the fans, I'll come back if you have me. Then a few months later, he's talking to KD about, man, KD.
2 max contracts.
What they going to do, bro? We can go to Brooklyn and kick it. We can get like what the hell happened? So there was something that changed in Kyrie between October, the season ticket holders scrimmage where they were loud. He announced he that shocked the hell out the organization. They did not ask him to do that. He did it on his own. To February, where he's talking about he plotting his next move. He's thinking of he's Rakim. He's thinking of a master plan. Okay, so that played into it. Kyrie's, what the hell is he going to do? Marcus Morris is playing for a deal. Marcus finally got his 4 and 64 from I think the Knicks, and then got traded for the Clippers, but. Marcus Morris is on that team. He's playing for his money. Marcus wants one more. He sees I need to get one more check, one more lucrative deal. Okay, and he got it. So he's playing for that. Rozier is like, listen, I was the point guard on this team when your boy Kyrie was hurt. You ain't gonna give me a shot. Now he had a bad game 7 in 2018, but he was formidable. Remember, he chunked Eric Bledsoe in that playoff series against Milwaukee. Like, he was rising. Kyrie comes back and he's got to go back down. But Rozier's like, "What's up?
Right.
I'm a baller too. I can run this team probably better than Kyrie because Kyrie ain't all the way there." And then you have Gordon trying to prove he can still play at a high-star level after missing the full season. Al Horford figuring, okay, am I a center or forward? And I'm probably going to need to go somewhere else because I don't want to play center. So there was, Warren, there was so many agendas on that team. And it wasn't that guys were like selfish, but they all had stuff going on.
That is the perfect word, Gary. That's the exact word Gordon utilized on the podcast.
Yeah.
There's competing agendas.
It wasn't selfish. I didn't see, there weren't jerks in that team, but it was just like, people, it was Kyrie's fault. Kyrie, like, you can say that, but it wasn't all his fault. Now, I don't know what happened that turned him from Boston to Brooklyn. Because remember, he started pushing the theme, "I'm coming home," and I'm a kid who grew up in Jersey, and I was a Nets fan, and look at me in a Jayson kid jersey in 2003 when I was 11 years old, and oh my God, and it's going to be amazing to play in front of friends and family. We saw how that worked out in Brooklyn. It didn't. Okay, it was a disaster. But then that's what I finally get a chance to choose my team. Gordon is trying to prove that he can play, and then people are like, "Why is Brad giving him minutes over Jaylen?" Jaylen feels some kind of way. Jaylen also doesn't get along with Kyrie. That's another element of this. Jayson looks at how Kyrie treats. Remember, when Jayson came to the league, it was the Duke tie, and they had the same agent.
Oh, true.
Okay, Jeff Wechsler, who's still Jayson's agent, no longer Kyrie's agent. But when Kyrie started calling out the young guys in the media, Jayson quietly, in his own way, took a couple of steps back. It was just like, "That's not my guy. Okay, don't look at me, Jaylen. Don't look at me, Terry. When that dude that's not me. I'm not doing that." Like, he's talking about me too. So Jayson quietly took a step back from Kyrie and the whole like Duke thing and "you're my mentor" and all that. That was supposed to be how it went down. It didn't. Jayson quietly, in a stealth way, was like, like, "Everybody take a step forward." Jayson took a step back.
He did the Homer Simpson meme.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Jayson was like, "Nah," because Kyrie started airing out his issues with his teammates to us. And it was great for us, but you could tell them dudes was like, "Homeboy, you as much chaos you cause around here, you talking about us?" So it was just a lot. It was when you acquire a lot of players, and the Celtics decided they wanted to wheel and deal. They wanted to be the Heat. They wanted to be the Lakers. They wanted to bring all these new guys in. They brought in Al, who was a consummate professional, but didn't want to play center. Then they brought in Gordon, who broke his leg. Then they drafted Terry. Terry's a tough kid from Youngstown, Ohio. Terry's a dog in a good way.
Yeah.
And we see what he's doing in Charlotte. So I ask you, Warren, you can tell me what you think, and the viewers, and send the emails, whatever. Should the Celtics had given Terry the keys in the 1920 season and not signed Kemba? It would have been cheaper, right? Should they? Because there was a split on Terry. What is he? Is he a point? Is he a shooting guard? Now he's become a shooting guard in Charlotte because LaMelo's there. But now he's running point because LaMelo's hurt. And Terry's turned into a 20-plus point per game scorer, a good shooter, but he's playing on a terrible team, so no one notices. But should the Celtics have given a fresh, what Terry might have been 24?
Yeah, 23, 24. Yep.
Year old, as opposed to an aging Kemba whose knee ended up being the detriment of him and kind of ruined his stint in Boston? That's an interesting question that we'll never know, but it's interesting to ask because that whole dynamic with Terry, and Terry didn't dislike nobody. He respected Kyrie, but Terry was like, hold up. I got all-star talent too. And y'all sleeping on me. And it was me on the floor in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. That run, I don't say it was the worst thing, but it really changed the face of the course of the franchise.
Yeah.
If they lose in the first round, nobody's talking about this. But they didn't. They won 2 playoff rounds, and they were up 3-2 and blew 6 and 7. And 7, it's frustrating. I remember going to the finals that year, covering it just as a reporter, and it was another Cleveland Golden State, and I think everybody was tired of Cleveland Golden State.
Everybody
was just like, come on now, like this ain't gonna work. Everybody couldn't wait for Boston because they would just want to see a new team, and everybody was looking at me, Gary, what happened? We're waiting for the Celtics. Celtics were supposed to be here. It fizzled in Game 7. So that run though changed everything. And it affected the 18-19 team. And Gordon got the hell out of there. Al signed with Philadelphia. Kyrie went to Brooklyn. The Celtics did the sign and trade with Charlotte to get Terry out of there. Marcus Morris went to the Knicks. So it changed everything. And that Milwaukee series, Kyrie had checked out. He was, there was fast breaks where I got Giannis. What?
Yeah, he was wilding. He was definitely.
I got Giannis, and you could tell he couldn't wait for the season to end. And a lot of guys probably were just like, you know what? Gordon got the max from Charlotte. No one expected that. Al got that 4-year, $100 million deal from Philadelphia to be the 4 in, to Embiid, and then they found out he couldn't play with Embiid. So it didn't really work out. Now Terry got paid. But Charlotte's done nothing since he's been there because of that terrible team, terribly run franchise. But it's one of those 30 for 30s, man. I'm sure. Man. Hopefully, I'll get an interview on that thing if they talk about it, because it was amazing to witness that team with all the talent they had. Young Jayson and Jaylen, and we talk about guys like Marcus Morris in his prime. Marcus has lost a little bit now, but Marcus was a very effective player for the Celtics. I thought it was a mistake to let him go, but he got his $16 million. He got his, hey, I'm not gonna get no max, but hell, I'm gonna try to get 60-70 million out this joint before I get up out of here. He got it. Al got 100. Gordon got 120. And Kyrie, I think they were ecstatic that Kyrie left because it took a toll mentally on the franchise.
Yeah, Gary. I think you've given us such great knowledge here in history, of that season, and again, it was really interesting to hear Gordon kind of waxing poetically and trying to even hold himself back, in terms of trying not to say too much because maybe not wanting to throw some people under the bus. But he even says, like, I got stories. We had so many meetings, and Brad's forever my guy, but yeah, it just didn't work out. But there is a lot to be there. So I think you've given us an idea for definitely when the times are slower in the NBA, we'll do a what if. Kind of like the Disney style, of Celtics teams and players and decisions and things of that nature, man. Really great stuff.